So I know I said I was gonna do a Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson video, but I decided that I'll just keep it Jalen Watson. I'll obviously make some references to Trent McDuffie in this video as well. But the Chiefs defense are at full strength for the playoffs with the return of Jalen Watson. And this is gonna be the first time that everybody on the defense is healthy and playing. If y'all didn't really realize that. Literally everybody on the defense is healthy and everybody on the defense is playing. So the veteran who returned to the practice field last week, who was expected to be returned from injured reserve in time for Saturday's divisional round playoff game against the Houston Texans, is cornerback Jalen Watson. If y'all didn't know, obviously we play the Houston Texans tomorrow. And man, I can't wait because I already know I'm going to have an amazing video for y'all after. So I can't wait for that. But Watson could start Saturday, and he could play a majority of the snaps after, he was a full participant in practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. And there's no secret that the addition of Jalen Watson is going to strengthen the secondary. It really is, So Steve Spagnuolo, he will have all 18 of his starting and rotational players healthy. And this is going to be amazing because he's obviously going to be trying his hardest to disrupt the Texans' offense. So I love what Steve Spags has on his hands right now. So in week 7, we know that Watson suffered a fractured fibula and tibia in his left leg early during the Chiefs' win over the San Francisco 49ers. So obviously we all thought that Watson's injury would be like, season ending, but it really wasn't. But before Watson's injury, he played 90% or more of the Chiefs' defensive snaps in each of the first 5 games of this season. He recorded 32 tackles and 6 pass breakups, which tied his career high. So he was on pace to an amazing season. And with Watson starting opposite All-Pro cornerback Trent McDuffie, quarterbacks completed only 60% of their passes. But since Watson was placed on injured reserve, they had Joshua Williams, Nasir Johnson, and the undrafted rookie Chris Roland Wallace who filled in. And the completion percentage rose all the way up to a whopping 67%. And here's what Trent McDuffie had to say. Quote, Jalen Watson is one of those guys in his DB room that has a lot of energy. When you see him on the practice field, he's dancing, he's smiling. It's great to get guys coming back from injury, whether it's been 2 weeks or 2 months. Quote, I think he's doing really, really well. He's able to move around very well. You can tell that he's still retaining the information. It doesn't really look like he's coming off an injury. He's done a great job with his recovery. Yeah, man. But 2 days after the Chiefs went over the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Day, Watson posted a short video on Instagram that showed him sprinting inside the team's training facility. And then a few days later, Watson posted another video, this one featuring him backpedaling and smoothly changing directions. Trent McDuffie said, quote, he's been in the system for 3 years. He's played in all the big games. He's someone that I know the coaches trust a lot. Quote, he could come back and have a physical advantage. His length and his size, 6'2" and 197 pounds. Quote, he's really been good at man coverage, something that we've been missing in the DB room. So Trent McDuffie is very excited that he has a guy like Jalen Watson that's, going to be back to, obviously be on his side and help him lock up these wide receivers. So with Watson's return, Spagnuolo, he could test the Texans' passing attack by having his cornerbacks play more man coverage than usual, In the regular season, the Chiefs aligned their outside cornerbacks and press man coverage on 52% of snaps, and that is the highest rate in the league by almost 7%. Now, if you look at Nico Collins, he's the Texans' best wide receiver, and obviously much of his production was generated in last week's win over the Los Angeles Chargers. 7 receptions, 122 yards, and a touchdown in the middle of the field. So this is what Spags had to say about the Texans. Quote, they're pretty smart. They move receivers around. No matter who ends up on Collins, we need to know where he is. He's a guy we're very concerned about. So that's what Spags had to say. Now, if you look at the Chiefs' December 21st victory against the Texans, McDuffie played just 10 snaps as the nickel defender. But on Saturday, McDuffie could match up against the slot receiver while Watson and Williams on the perimeter when the Chiefs played nickel or dime personnel. So obviously Collins is a complete wide receiver. He's big, physical, he's fast, he has good hands and a great connection with Stroud, and he is that number 1 receiver. So you definitely want to be able to get to Nico Collins, and then you want to also get to Stroud on the blitz. So if the Chiefs man coverage is looking sticky and effective like it should, then Spags would definitely blitz Stroud very often, The Chiefs, we rushed the quarterback with 5 or more defenders on 36% of opponents' dropbacks this season, which is the 5th highest rate in the NFL according to Next Gen Stats. Early in the season when Watson was in the lineup, the Chiefs were missing a who was rehabbing after tearing the ACL on his right knee in last year's AFC Championship game. Now, Watson hopes to strengthen the secondary, and a who he wants to be a difference maker in the pass rush, trust me, especially after what, he's been through with the injury and all that. So a part of the unit that would feature him, Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, and Mike Danna is going to be pivotal for them on third down, Well, in the final 6 games of the regular season, who recorded a sack, a forced fumble, and 6 tackles in limited time on the field. But obviously, who has a strong reputation once the calendar turns to January. In 11 playoff games, he's recorded 4.5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and 3 forced fumbles. So who is a great player, and obviously the playoffs brings, the best out of him, Spags, his game plan is most likely going to be very good on Saturday. Definitely probably going to include some new blitzes, some new pre-snap coverage disguises, and some pass rushing surprises. We know how Spags be, man. He's going to definitely come with a bunch of new looks and a bunch of new stuff to keep this Texans offense in a frenzy. And I expect C.J. Stroud to struggle against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't expect C.J. Stroud to go toe-for-toe with the Chiefs. I really believe that C.J. Stroud might be finished. We might end up doing him dirty. And I'm saying this, I don't want to sound cocky, but honestly, C.J. Stroud's not ready for the Chiefs at Arrowhead, man. Being the Chiefs at Arrowhead is never easy. That's something that you got to be ready for. And I just know that C.J. Stroud is honestly not ready for that, man. If we being real, C.J. Stroud is not ready for that. But, yeah, man, Watson will be back. And it's going to be fun, man. Hopefully they shutting stuff down out there. Hopefully they really shutting stuff down out there. But I was going to go over some things to watch, against the Texans tomorrow. So obviously you want to look at the Chiefs' offensive line, because Jeremy Fowler reported that Joe Thuney is expected to start at left tackle over DJ Humphries. And I don't know. Pass protection is clearly paramount, because that's something that's had to happen. When Thuney was protecting the blind side, the pass attack was in a good rhythm. It was in as good as a rhythm as it's been all season. But the run game was drastically less efficient in 3 games without Thuney at left guard. Weeks 1 through 14, 46.5 rushing success rate. NFL ranking, that's first. Weeks 15 through 17, 37% rushing success rate. NFL rank, that's 25th. So Thuney at left tackle was going to raise the level of pass protection, but obviously it'll still expose left guard Mike Caliendo on pass downs. And in the wild card win, the Texans did produce 3 sacks, and 2 of them was by defensive end Denico Autry winning past the guard. So we definitely got to watch out for that. But then we're going to have to earn the right to rush C.J. Stroud, meaning we're going to have to stop Joe Mixon. He has to get stopped. We can't let Joe Mixon run all over us. We got to do him bad. We got to attack the Texans' pass protection. Our Chiefs pass rush is definitely fresh, and they're healthy. So we got to be ready to attack them, man. The Texans have a bad offensive line, and there's a rookie right tackle, Blake Fisher, who could be taken advantage of. Fisher has allowed 4 sacks and 6 other quarterback hits over 6 starts at right tackle this season. So then we got to focus our coverage on Nico Collins, because obviously when Stroud throws the ball, he's going to look for Nico Collins the whole game, who's obviously the only real difference maker left in Houston's wide receiver core. And then we're going to have to hit on explosive play opportunities. The Chiefs going to have to make explosive plays with guys like Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. And Kamari Lassitier, whatever his name is not going to be able to keep up with none of them dudes. So the Chiefs could easily beat the Texans tomorrow. And Jalen Watson coming back was a big reason on why. Let's get it.